We need some intro music.
We do. It's so quiet. This is gonna be the intro music now.
They some intro music. They can hear us.
We
too.
do.
We back.
We back. We back, guys. We miss you guys just as much as you missed us, but it was worth the wait. Would you agree, Vashti?
I mean, obviously.
And what better time to bring this podcast back than when the Panthers are 3-0 at home? They're at 500 for the first time since 2021. Hang the banner. Hang it right now. Stop the count.
You know what? And there were some Cowboys fans and even media writers that were like, "Oh, y'all won the Super Bowl." Like, relax. Everybody knows that this is not the Super Bowl, but
Yeah.
allow a fan base who has had
To enjoy.
Exactly. Like, Panthers fans have been through some stuff since, if we keeping it real, the Super Bowl run. Then ever since that hit that Cam Newton took to his shoulder in Pittsburgh,
November.
It's been rough for the Panthers. So for people to hate, like, relax. Allow Panthers fans y'all deserve all the nice things right now. All of
them. You deserve to have a running back put together back-to-back 200-plus yard games. You deserve to be part of the headlines where they're not ridiculing you, where they're not, you're not the homecoming game. You're not the get-right game schedule on team schedule. And they realize that when they lace up against the Panthers, they have to actually play football. And they have not had that fear in a long time. And to be fair, the first 2 weeks, people thought it was going to be the same old Panthers. Other than that catastrophe against the Patriots, I feel like this team has steadily, every single week, improved in some areas.
Yeah, and, Sheena and I, if you don't know, Sheena and I are beat writers who cover the team. So we are in the locker room 4 days out of the week. We know a lot of the ins and outs that happen with these guys. We see the work. And when they come out and lay eggs, we're like, man, are we going to travel? Because this is a fiscal investment for us as business owners. But a 3-game win streak at home. And even Bryce Young said it. It starts to instill a belief system in the process. Because if you're doing the work and you're not reaping any benefits, you're not seeing the fruits of your labor, you start to question the process. That's natural for anybody, even in business, even in personal life. If you're putting in and you're not getting anything back, then you're like, man, is it worth it?
Definitely. I mean, and let's just talk about Bryce a little bit. I don't care what anyone says. I'm still counting last season as Bryce Young's rookie year. We're not going to go back to where his past catchers are today that he had back in 2023. We're washing that. His first real rookie season was last season, and he did so with the rookie head coach in Dave Canales. And I think that what we're seeing is these two kind of learn the ropes together as well as learn each other, especially on the back end of last season, Bryce coming off of that benching. But I feel like the latest chapter in that development of that relationship and that trust and that confidence was on that 4th and 4 play. Canales trusted Bryce Young to put the ball in Bryce Young's hand. They had been running it down the Cowboys' throat all game, but he said, you know what? I trust my QB so much, we're going empty. And it paid off. So I just think that just shows that, I mean, it might be small to some, but to me, I feel like that is growth in their development together because they're on this journey together.
Was that
just saying, trusting Bryce? I think so. You said, look, game on the line. It's 4th and 4. Our defense, I mean, we had a 3 and out on that last possession, but we don't want the Cowboys to get the ball again. So instead of taking that kick, which we saw Ryan Fitzgerald hit from 55 yards out. So he has confidence in the kicker, but he needed to show some confidence in his quarterback at that time. And I think it was a small moment to some, but I think it is huge in the development of their relationship with one another.
Yeah, Bryce, I mean, I gotta go back and pull up the stats, but he had one of his best games, I would say, as a Panther, and we're not including the interception that really wasn't his fault, and we're gonna go into that more a little bit later. But I mean, when you put up the numbers that he had, especially in the fourth quarter and when the game was on the line. You got to respect that. And there have been questions. There have been questions about Bryce this whole time. But, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. Bryce was 17 of 25, 199 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception, and that was that 1 interception. And I think in the fourth quarter, he was basically perfect. And this is a Panthers offense that had 410 total net yards. They outgained the Cowboys, the number 1 offense in the NFL coming into this game by 118 yards. That cannot be understated for a Panthers team that has struggled offensively for a long time.
Absolutely. And I just think that, like you said, the Panthers fans deserve to have nice things. There was a point in time when they could not get a yard. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. You know what I mean? They couldn't move the ball if their life depended on it. All opposing teams had to do was score. That's it. And the game was a wrap in the first quarter. But Vashti, we've sat through those games. And so I do think that patience is a virtue. I know Panthers fans were tired of hearing that, but when this new regime came in, you had to pretty much you had to give them patience, because this team, that 2-15 team, really should have been 0-17 if we're being honest. This wasn't those 2 wins didn't come when they were leading the whole game. Those came off of walk-off field goals. So Dan and Dave really inherited an 0-17 team, and it was like, okay, do something with it. Do something with it. And by the way, you're going to have limited draft capital because we sold the farm to get Bryce, and there are years of terrible trades on our behalf. So what a lot of people don't give Dan Morgan credit for, that you might not see just yet on the field, is that he went back and he recouped a lot of that draft capital that had been traded and squandered away in the 2 to 3 years before he took over. So I just think that, like you said, it's easier to trust the process when you're starting to see some actual results. And we're not saying that by no means that we think this team was going 17-0, maybe not even 10-7, but they are very, very capable of being above 500, which to me is a huge step in the right direction.
You brought up something. Listen, if nobody's giving Dan Morgan his flowers, and we're not saying the job isn't done, okay? There's still work to do. The job's not done. But from what he's done so far, Dan Morgan deserves some flowers, because the Panthers have not hit in later drafts and later rounds of the draft. So far, it's looking like he has a stud in T-Mac, a stud in Nick Scorton, a stud in Princely Umanmielen. Even Mitchell Evans is making it.
Lathan
Ransom. Freaking Jimmy Horn. Like, these are guys who are already a 6th round draft pick. Usually is fringe. Usually there are even questions about if they're making the roster. These are guys who are coming in and making an impact already to this team. And so, Dan, we giving you your flowers. Round of
free
applause. Keep it up. Free agency. Keep it up. He went heavy offensive line last year. This year, he did defense. Shout out Bobby Brown, who had a really good game this past week against the Cowboys. So, yeah, we talking about good games. Can't talk about good games without Mr. Rico Dowdle. Asheville, North Carolina native, former Carolina Gamecock. Came in, now is back with the home team, and absolutely ate against his former squad. This is what he had to say after the game.
Kind of like a message.
Oh, for sure. They got to buckle up. I think they know for sure.
Rico, if your message last week was buckle up to the Cowboys, what's your message after the game?
They weren't buckled up.
Girl, if that's not energy, that is energy. That is
he talked it all week long.
That is standing on business. Listen, I don't mind. I want a guy. And even in the locker room, he tried to backtrack, but I was like, nah, Rico, you said that they need to buckle up. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to stand on that. I respect that so much, because guys will try to downplay the fact that they're playing teams that did not re-sign them, didn't give them a contract, and act like, oh, it's just another game.
Just another game.
It's never just another game. It's like Just like you have your ex and you know your ex is going to be at the party. You're not going to roll up at the party looking a mess with a dud. You stepping. And Rico showed up to the party with his ex there with a bad one. With a
Pulled
bad
up in the
one.
Maybach.
With a bad
Pulled
one.
up in the Bentley truck.
30 carries, 183 yards, 6.1 yards per carry. He led the Panthers in receiving yards, 4 of 5. He caught 4 of 5 targets, 56 yards, 1 touchdown. The most total yards in franchise history, surpassing Christian McCaffrey. That is a guy. That's a guy.
He's definitely a guy, to say the very least. And there's been a while since you had that type of moxie in Carolina. Let's just be honest. We thought Baker Mayfield was going to bring it. Wrong time, wrong place. That just didn't work out with the coaching staff and the makeup of that team. Rico Dowdle, and what's interesting is he came off of a 1,000-yard rushing season, and so did Chuba. So with 2 1,000-yard rushers, I still don't know what provoked whoever it was that ranked them as the 28th best or the worst running back room in the NFL. When I go back and look at my ops receipts, I got some words for that guy. I don't know who he is or if we should even be giving any credence.
Panthers Twitter already got. I didn't save it.
They
but
found
don't
him.
worry. Panthers fans keep all the receipts. They already called him out. I think he said something about Rico, and I think was it Travis Clay? It might have been him.
That was his name.
I think, but don't come at me if I'm wrong. But I do remember a tweet where somebody said Travis Clay was giving props to Rico, and one of the Panthers fans on Twitter was like, "No, keep that same energy because this is the same running back room that you guys as an organization ranked 28th out of 32." So a lot to prove amongst those guys. Speaking of still on this game, run defense versus pass defense. The numbers speak for themselves. Let's go through them. Okay.
You're gonna pull up the facts, the car facts.
Okay. The Panthers allowed just 31 yards on the ground. Last week they allowed just 19 yards on the ground, which is crazy because last year you was just I could
crazy.
I could get 3 yards on that defense. Maybe not, but I'm just saying, y'all
don't let Aiden be here.
Y'all get the point.
Yeah,
y'all get the point. 31 rushing yards for Cowboys defense that was ranked. I mean, we gotta say this: they were ranked worst in the league, but they allowed, on the flip side, 261 yards in the air. Sheena, what went wrong there?
There's just way too much conservatism in the defensive backfield. On top of that, the pass rush is non-existent. And when you have somebody like Dak Prescott or any NFL caliber quarterback, to be honest with you, when you allow them that much time in the pocket, it's very difficult. Even if you were playing tight coverage, it's hard to cover those guys for that long, especially like JC said, it's an offensive league. We saw a lot of DPIs that we thought were questionable, defensive holding in the backfield that we thought was questionable. It's not a lot that they can do beyond the scrimmage except for stick to these guys like glue without touching them. But again, like I said, pass rush is completely absent. But then on top of that, you have your corners playing 8 to 10 yards off, and it's second and short. You know, people like Dak Prescott and George Pickens are going to pick you apart. And then you have a number one corner in JC who is elite. JC Horn is elite, not just by pay, but by play on the field. And he's not traveling with the number one receiver. You have people thinking JC's scared. He doesn't want to be challenged. He welcomes the challenge. And like he told you, Vashti, he actually asked to cover George Pickens.
I got that clip
on that play.
Let's go to that.
Or change something up there?
Yeah, I spoke to the coaches about it on the sideline. Just saying that last drive, I'll go to him because he was getting a lot of the targets. But like I said earlier, Mike, the same guy who led the team in PBUs last year. We both played great together last year, playing the same field and boundary that everybody talk against. And like I said, we got all the confidence in the world in Mike, and he's a hell of a player. And it's just a National Football League. Like, you can find the best of the best corners to get scarred up sometimes, and they got to bounce back the next week. So we both got to do a better job, denying explosive plays, and just keep working through it.
Did you?
so. I mean, everybody was like, "Why?" Pickens was cooking. Okay,
Listen, he was doing NFL young boy was.
This was reminiscent of Mike Evans. Mike Evans cooking. Like, remember that the game where they had an opportunity to potentially play for a playoff spot during the Steve Wilkes interim coaching era, and Mike Evans cooked. This was reminiscent of that.
For sure. And the thing about it is, come on, guys, like Mike Jackson is not a bad CB2. He's not. He's not a bad CB2. Like JC said, if you're a cornerback in the NFL, you might have, hey, it's anybody's day. But when you do see that there's a matchup issue, I have a problem with Evero's stubbornness. And I feel like it supersedes his desire to win. Because this is JC should not have had to come and ask you, hey, let me cover George Pickens. That's an adjustment as a coach that you should make as you see how the game is unfolding. Forget what your philosophy was coming in. When you see what's happening on the field, be willing to adjust. Be humble enough to adjust what your initial vision was. And I think that that's what my biggest issue has been with Evero throughout these seasons, is that he will have it in his mind that he wants to do one thing, and whether injuries impact that plan, whether the game situation impacts that plan, he doesn't adjust his plan. He will try to force that square in that round hole as much as he can, to the detriment of this defense overall as a whole. So kudos to JC for advocating for himself, but it shouldn't have come to that. It should have never come to that.
Absolutely. Shout out. I'm going to give a shout out to some of the comments. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sean says, love you guys. Keep pounding. Dave, what up, Dave? Shout out Quick Blitz. We are back, guys. And Sean also said JC needs to follow wide receiver 1. Listen, you paying this man $100 million a year.
And he's asking you. He's asking you to let him travel. He wants to travel.
We asked him about this at the end of last year. And I was like, JC, what, man, yeah. Like, if I'm a competitor, if I feel like I'm the best in the league at my position, the only way that I can prove myself that I am the best in the league against competition is to be up against the opponent's best guy. Now, I don't know schematically, and like you said, Evero is married to a scheme. That's the scheme that he knows. That's the scheme that has gotten him to this position now. Yeah.
It's the scheme that should have and could have gotten him fired last season. Let's be cool. Let's throw that in there.
And if we keeping it a buck, it's the scheme that has not allowed him to progress into those head coaching talks that he wants to be in. This is a guy with head coaching aspirations, period.
For sure.
But head coaches have to learn to adapt, to your personnel and to your opponent. And I'm going to just kudos to JC. Kudos to JC for being like, yo, this is what we need to do. And this is why I'm going to give Evero and Canales props, because they listen to their players.
They listen to their players.
And I don't know if Canales, we got to find this out. But in this instance, they listened to their players. They're one of their highest paid guys, and allowed him to shadow Pickens on a very critical drive. That could have been the drive that put the nail in the coffins for the Panthers. Then we would be having a whole different conversation right now. So,
but did you see Dak not even look in Pickens' direction when he saw JC Horn in coverage?
They don't look in JC's direction. That's the thing. You already know, like the first 4 weeks, like whoever JC was on wasn't even getting targeted.
JC,
and I mentioned that to him. He's a humble guy, but bro, they're not even throwing in your direction. What does that say?
It says that we know what the Panthers are going to do. So what we're going to do is move our number 1 away from JC Horn, because he's not going with him. Now, when we have seen him lined up against the wide receiver 1, we see, like you said, quarterbacks aren't even looking in that direction. And if they do, they might try it once and they're like, oh, that was a little bit, let me not do that again. And so it'll be interesting to see going forward, because there's still a lot of football left, if EJ will consider letting JC Horn travel in those situations where, Mike Jack might not be having the best day at the office.
And let's speak it though. Mike Jack is not ass. I mean,
he is not. Not even close.
Like, and I said Mike Jack was getting cooked. Listen, if we talk to Mike Jack, and we might talk to Mike Jack in the locker room today, he will admit I was getting cooked. Like, you win,
and it ain't gonna happen again. That's what he's gonna say.
George Pickens is who he is because he is just an animal. And sometimes you lose against somebody who is just more raw than you are. And that's just what happened.
He is
So
raw.
Mike Jack is a formidable wide receiver too. I mean, cornerback too. He's not
He
cornerback
is.
one. He's not CB1. And you know, JC is getting
He's
paid
a
like
role player.
CB1. Like let him follow. Like he's not scared of the smoke.
Because do
T-Mac,
you even
go ahead.
so before you go to that, do we even remember who JC Horn was covering up until that play? Do you remember the name of the receiver?
No.
Exactly. He was a non-factor. We also got to, we'll talk about this later, I guess, but they've got to figure out a way to combat tight ends. Defending tight ends has been the Achilles heel of this defense for years. So they've got to figure out how to do that. And I mean, I guess as Trevin Wallace continues to progress, which he is with that green dot, Roseboom is playing better without the gravity and the responsibility of the green dot. As that linebacker core improves, they have to improve tight end defense because a team with a formidable tight end is going to eat.
And they have eaten. T-Mac finally got his first touchdown, his elusive touchdown. I asked him about it after the game. Here's what he had to say. Take us through that first touchdown. Can you take me through that play, please?
Well, I can't tell you the play, but, I guess, I had a over the ball route and, we made an adjustment and, it just happened to be the right adjustment.
This week you said you had to switch the scenery to get your first touchdown. What was that scenery that you switched up?
Oh, man, I wasn't talking about scoring that much this week. So, throughout the week, the past couple weeks, I've been telling everybody that I'm trying to get in that box. But, unfortunately, I wasn't able to. But, this week I had to switch it up, man. Didn't say anything about the touchdown. They talking about you got to score. I'm like, man, be quiet, man. And, I was fortunate enough to score today.
No Selly. What behind that? Were you surprised that you got in the end zone? Did you have one planned? You just wanted to chill with it today?
Yeah, I was just chill, man. I just wanted to chill, man. To be honest with you, I was still a little hurt from the turnover that I forced earlier. So, pretty much it.
You made up for it, though. That's T-Mac, though. And we saw this in training camp. When he makes a mistake, he's wired where it's like, oh no, okay, I gotta make up for that.
Give me it back. Come back to me. And so shout out to him not getting his first, but 2 touchdowns yesterday in front of the hometown crowd. So, it's good the Panthers fans got to actually see that.
I like that mentality though. Like,
no, for sure.
Because like there's a fine line between harping on something and then letting something fuel you. And I'm glad he shared that with us because that gives you more insight into what type of player he is when it comes to like, he has a high expectation for himself and mistakes will happen, but he's one of those guys where like, and everybody's not wired like that, where it's like, oh, I messed up. Oh no. Okay. Not only am I going to get one tutty, I'm going to get
2 of them.
Well,
I can't knock it.
I mean, 30-27 win for the Carolina Panthers over the Dallas Cowboys. Sent those Cowboys fans packing. They took over Charlotte. I ain't even gonna lie, Sheena.
They did. They always do. Girl, I got off of 277 and I saw were Cowboys tailgates at like 9:30 in the morning. Like,
but why though?
Pitched because
it's all the old heads. It's all the old heads
that
be driving on the motorcycles, playing that loud Frankie Beverly, or in those what are the big ones?
Winnebagos.
Outside, whatever those things are. Like they sons can't be Cowboys fans because that's just a life that you wouldn't want for your kid.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You're either born. I don't see people switch to Cowboys fandom later on in life. You're born a Cowboys fan, and you said the old heads. The Panthers weren't around yet.
Yep.
So most of the time you either had Cowboys or Washington fans. You had NFC East fans before the Carolina Panthers came into fruition. I mean, my first foray into football was watching the Cowboys with my dad. My dad was a Cowboys fan. I have 3 uncles. 2 are Eagles fans. One's a Cowboys fan. So I just think that, it'll be interesting to see how it continues to progress, like our generation and beyond, if they continue to have such a strong hold on the Carolinas. But for right now, it's the old heads keeping them in there, just because there wasn't a team here back when they were, pledging their allegiances.
Right. Before we talk about a few players coming back from injury, I want to put this comment up. Kyrie J, shout out for the comments. Thank you. Also, shout out XL. It ain't showing up on the stat sheet yet, but if you watch the film, he has been consistently getting open.
And that's what we were going to talk about next.
And lay off XL, y'all. Y'all have cyber bullied this man into like losing that spark in his eye. And I hate to
I agree.
I hate to
I agree.
People got to stop doing that. XL, it has a talent. Everybody, you can't expect stuff to pop. This is a young man who was thrust into the wide receiver 1 position when it didn't work without Deontay Johnson. He has always been kind of like a slow burn. He was not somebody that popped immediately in college. He's somebody that got a few years under his belt and then popped his senior year. So give this man some time. Don't be out on XL. It's not fair. He's blocking. And
it doesn't make sense.
Right. It doesn't. The pitch, oh my God, Twitter was on him so bad. Come to find out, Rico
asked for that. Rico asked for the pitch.
So
he asked for the pitch. Everybody was immediately like, what is he doing? What is he thinking? Oh my God, he's so dumb. Why would you do this? This guy's the worst football player ever. Rico asked for the pitch.
So lay off XL. You can't.
Yeah, for sure.
You can't. If XL was in the league and they paid him, he was in the league. This is second contract. They paid him all of this money to come here, and he's doing that. Then okay.
Then get your bars off.
But a second-year receiver who was drafted in the late first round, who was always not somebody who was supposed to be thrust into the number 1 wide receiver position. Relax, y'all. For real.
For sure.
Relax. All right.
And I think that, like he said, it's not showing up in the stat sheets, but he is a part of that run game with blocking. He's getting open and giving Bryce some options. So, I mean, again, being out on the second year of a player is just asinine. And it's the problem that this franchise has had. And I think it's just because they just haven't won. You know what I'm saying? So it's easy to be like, oh my God, another busted draft pick. I don't think XL is that. I think that he will be just fine.
Yep. And that's exactly what Dave said. Shout out Dave PNP. XL is going to be fine. And I completely agree. Now, briefly, because we got to go shortly, because we got to go get y'all with a Victory Monday content. But Chuba, got some guys who will be coming back from injury. Chuba Hubbard, JT Sanders, Jalen Coker are guys who I think will likely come back this week. Sheena, what do you think the impact of their returns will be?
I think that if Chuba comes back this week, I think that you slowly integrate him into this just solely off of what Rico's done. I don't think that it's going to be contentious between the two of them. They're very, very close. And I think the Panthers finally have their 2-headed monster that they had back in the day when they had the D'Angelo Williams, Deshaun Fall. They've had running back tandems, and I think that that's going to be what this is also. I think that they both bring different skill sets. Chuba has improved in catching out of the backfield. Rico thrives at it. So I think that I do actually trust Canales to find a way to have a balanced approach of using both of them.
That's
I actually
I'm
do.
not convinced.
You know why I do?
I'm not
why I do?
Okay.
I think so because a lot of people say, okay, well, through the first 4 games, that's because this was Chuba's team. In the first 4 games, this was Chuba's team. He earned it. He earned it. Rico was the newcomer. He was the new kid on the block. Rico got the opportunity, and Rico said, hey, I had 1,000 yards too now. Don't sleep on me. So I think that kind of changes it, shifts it a little bit, and that's what I think will get him a higher share percentage of those carries going forward. But through the first 4 games, Chuba didn't do enough to not be that guy. You know what I'm saying? I think that he was kind of grandfathered into that because this was his team. That was his position to lose. And unfortunately, he was injured, and Rico stepped up. Not only just stepped up, stepped all the way through it, stepped up to it in a big way. And so I do think that it will be more balanced. And I think that whoever's had the hot hand of the game is going to keep getting the ball, which it should be, and regardless of who's getting paid.
And that's the
I don't think they care about who's getting paid.
That's the conundrum because
Yeah.
You gotta like.
A good problem to have, though.
I think that both of these guys are streaky runners, and when I say that, when they get in a groove, like they like, it's not, when they get going, you got to keep going, because if they got the hot hand, they gonna cook all game.
That's who you keep, and I think that that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, and so the question now is, if Chuba's ready to come back, which I feel like they didn't rush him back because Rico had the hot hand, like going up against a desperate Jets team in New York, like, do you roll with Rico?
I think you do. I think you roll with Rico and you slowly integrate Chuba back in. Because the issue with Chuba, it could very well easily snowball into a more serious injury. So if you don't have to rush him back, you don't do it, especially against this Jets team that, of course, like we were going to talk about them later on, they are winless. They are winless. But I do think that Chuba's RB1 comes Sunday, regardless of Chuba comes back or not. And I think that they slowly, I think Chuba, if Chuba comes back,
Rico is RB1.
I think, you mean going forward?
This week
or on Sunday? On
week.
Sunday, I think it's Rico. I think it's Rico. I think that Chuba will, if he comes back, I think he's on a pitch count, as he should be. And I think you integrate him back into it. You are at a place where you do not have to rush him back. This isn't the CMC days. You don't have to rush him back. This offense is clicking. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't think that that means that there's no place for Chuba, but I think that you kind of just integrate him back into it. And like you said, whoever has the hot hand, if you're running, if there's a game where, Rico's just kind of not, he's not doing, not going to say not doing it, but defense has an answer for him. You throw in a fresh set of legs in Chuba and you lose nothing. You still have a 1,000-yard back. You have a hard runner. And they do, to me, I feel like they have different run styles. I'm not saying Rico doesn't run hard, because we saw him dragging people. But again, he offers a slightly different skill set. And I think that if you can find a way to integrate that into how the game is going, I think that the Panthers' run game will be very difficult for anybody to stop.
Plymouth had a good question. They're going to face more stack boxes in the future. How do you think they'll adjust? I think you still commit to the run. You still commit to the run.
Make them stop it.
And, make them stop it. Maybe you see more rollouts. The Panthers this is an offensive line that likes to run block. Maybe get them out in space, going out along the sideline. Maybe, and how do you combat the run? You got to have some downfield plays. So you got to make them respect. You got to make them respect the pass. They gonna respect the run. Now you got to make them respect the pass, and I think that'll, that's where that whole balanced offense comes in. So, yeah.
I think they're doing a good job of that too. I think they're doing a good job of that, being able to combat a stack box with a T-Mac on the outside, or, with the streaking Jimmy Horn going across the middle. Hunter Renfrow has come up with some clutch catches back in Arizona and again yesterday. XL, they finally ran a successful screen. I know Frank Wright was sitting somewhere like, I knew they could do it, but they finally ran a successful screen in Xavier, and I think that that's where the diverse skill set of that wide receiver room is going to come into play if they do meet, any type of complications with the run game.
Real quick before we go to the Jets, we're not going deep into the Jets, but we're just going to talk about it. Coker, I think Coker said he could have come back last week. Canales, I don't think wants to mess up the rhythm that they found, but if they bring Coker back, somebody's going to get cut, and two, somebody's going to be scratched. We're not going to try to figure out who gets cut, but we can talk about who might get scratched.
Who might get scratched?
Got to be Hunter.
Based on usage, I know he came up with a big 4th down catch, but Jimmy did last week too. So I think that based upon usage and what we saw in target share the last couple of weeks, I think Hunter Renfrow is the healthy scratch once Jalen Coker's back.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, because Hunter Renfrow was fielding punts, but he wasn't even that great at that. They gotta get somebody who is solid. Etienne has been muffing punts. Hunter daggum near muffed a punt. Obviously, they haven't really put Jimmy back there that often with punts. Maybe he's not that great, but they have to figure that out. And I think you can't bench a guy like Jimmy. You got to respect that speed too much.
Yeah, you got to.
defense has
Gotcha.
got
And
to
he's
return
making
this
when
week. And
when
he's
his
made
number has been
plays.
called, when
Yeah.
his number's been called, he's made the play. So I think that it's pretty obvious that Hunter Renfrow will be the healthy scratch once Coker's back.
All right, real quick. We had some reactions, but Sheena, I don't think we have time because we got to get to the stadium. We're going to talk about the Jets real quick. Threats of a winless team, nothing to lose, everything to play for. What you think about the Jets real quick?
I think that the Jets, like you said, they have everything to play for, nothing to lose. Aaron Glenn's 0-6. He is on the hot seat. They do have Steve Wilkes on the defensive side of the ball. I'm trying to pull up this kind of snapshot of the Jets defense. I had it pulled up here. Let me get it for you just a second here.
Why are you pulling that up? Yeah, the Jets have been losing. Like, they haven't really been like blown out. They have been pretty competitive
in the game. Yeah, they've been in the game.
So they just, and for whatever reason, even though the Panthers have beaten the Cowboys this week, people still think that the Panthers are the get right team. Like, this will be a tougher challenge. For whatever reason, I thought that the Panthers were going to beat the Cowboys. I knew that.
Yeah, I did too.
I even said it before the game when we were chatting in the press box. I thought that the Panthers were going to win. I think that this Jets matchup is a legit concern or should be a legit concern for the Panthers. This could, in basketball, they talk about trap games. Like, you have a game with a winless or a bad team sandwiched in between two big games. This is a quintessential trap game because you had the Cowboys coming to Charlotte. You got the Bills the next week. And then here you have the winless Jets on the road where the Panthers have struggled, sandwiched in between those big home matchups. This is a quintessential trap game where the Panthers could potentially come out and lay an egg, and where discipline and commitment to the process will matter the most. That's where it will matter the most, because this one kind of concerns me. This one, I ain't even gonna hold you. It does.
Yeah. I'm trying to bring this up, Vashti. I don't know how to do it. It's down here in our little repertoire, if you're able to see it.
I got it.
There we go. So this is what the Jets have done through the first 6 weeks. Anything stand out to you?
I can't read it.
Oh, it's small. Look at the Yankees.
It's small.
So they've given up 1,900 yards. Let's
okay, there we go. I can see it now. My bad.
See it now? Okay. So this is what the Jets have done. The opponents are 59% in the red zone, 82% in goal to go. Let's see. Opponents have made 15 of 16 field goals. No safety. Well, the Jets have a safety. No safeties for the opponents. They have allowed 18 touchdowns. Let's see what they have given up in yardage. Total net yards, they've given up 1983. They've given up about 330 yards per game. About, let's see, rushing, they've given up 760, but it doesn't tell us rushing per game, which is really, really weird. They're giving up 7 yards per pass, 1,245 gross passing yards. They're pretty even when it comes to total drives per game, pretty even in first downs. So opponents are 77% in third down efficiency, while the Jets are only 30%. Only four fourth down attempts, but they have all been successful as far as opponents. The Jets are 8 of 15 on fourth down. So interesting. I mean, there's an opportunity for the Panthers to keep that win streak going and actually have a winning record for the first time since Matt Rule, when they were 3-0 and everybody was calling Sam Darnold Cam Darnold. But we won't go back to those dark days.
Oh, Lord.
We won't go back to those dark days. But it'll be
Cam
interesting
Darnold
because this will be
is
Steve
wild.
Wilkes' first time facing his former team. So is this a Wilkes revenge game?
It could be. It could be. But Wilkes ain't on the field.
That's
Wilkes
very
is gonna
true.
Wilkes is gonna drum
Will
up.
Wilkes?
Wilkes is gonna cut. Wilkes is gonna. You better believe the pressure will be put on Bryce.
Will Wilkes out scheme Dave Canales next week? But Bryce is good against the blitz. He thrives against the blitz.
I think he could.
It'll be interesting. And like you said, that this could very well be a trap game. It's so interesting to be on the opposite end of that and not be the trap game. Because normally the Panthers are the trap game. But that will be interesting because, again, they have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Aaron Glenn's trying to keep his job. His first-year head coach on a hot seat. He's 0-6.
Okay, we got time for maybe one more thing. Do you want to do Princely dripping or tripping?
We could. Let's take a look at Princely's fit.
All right, let's look at Princely's fit.
I need you to give me a fit check. Take me through the fit. Tell me the pieces, how you put it together.
This is HMDD. That's the brand right there. It stands for Happy Memory Don't Die. A lot of guys in the locker room and around the NFL wear it. This is also the same brand. These right here, some off-white forces right there. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I just be in my closet trying to pick out stuff and put stuff together.
Tell me about the ice.
This is actually a piece of art from Nigeria, my heritage, Edo. If y'all don't know about the Benin Kingdom, you know, this art piece right here is now in Europe, stolen from us, you know what I'm saying? And I just wanted to represent my heritage.
All right, I like the fit. Thank you.
All right, guys. Sheena?
I think he's dripping. Kudos for the historical piece. I mean, you know, I'm always for the culture and being tied to your culture. So I like how he tied that into it. And I think Princely just has his own style. And I always respect guys that can do that. Anybody else in that locker room probably couldn't have pulled that off.
What you think about the Nets over the jeans? I've never seen that before.
I've never seen it. But like I said, I can respect that he confidently wears it and it's his style and his style alone. Kind of like Miles Sanders used to be. Like Miles Sanders wore some stuff that nobody else in that locker room could wear. And I think that it's admirable that they can pull off these unique fits. So it's dripping for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna go dripping. I'd never seen the pants like that. I actually like the pants. Sometimes people be wilding, but the way he put it together with the hoodie, I thought was nice. I even like the lime green off-white sneakers with it, the forces. So, and then of course the chain, that is actually the same image as his profile picture. And so, yeah, I thought it was dripping, and I didn't really get any other guys, but you know, guys, we're going to try to do some more dripping or tripping because that is something that we have done. But I think that's dripping, and he's a guy that takes pride in his fits. So with that being said, we going to end with what Princely had to say after the game.
What's that? Howdy, bitch.
All right, guys. Thanks. We are back. We will be back next Monday. We're going to make this like a Monday thing, I think, because both of our schedules are pretty hectic outside of this. So we're going to do this on Monday. So make sure you're tuning in, subscribing. We're going to figure out how to get this stream to Twitter. This is our first time actually hosting and producing our own one.
Ourselves, right.
Ourselves, y'all. So hopefully everything went smoothly and y'all enjoyed it. Make sure you're subscribing on YouTube, following us on Instagram at Quick Blitz, and as well as on Twitter. And then our personal handles are at the bottom. Sheena_Marie3. Make sure you're following her stuff at Fox Sports 1340 and going to Carolina Blitz. And following us at carolinablitz.com or Keep Blitzing on Twitter. So thanks for joining us. We'll see y'all next week.